Pablo, what impresses you most about Guardiola?
Well, I only spent one season with Pep when he first came to Manchester, and he's a genius. I mean, he's a great coach, about tactics, but especially in the way he managed all the players off the field as well. And he creates always that, that healthy competition between players, because he knows that you've got a big squad. Squad depth of Man City is incredible. But you have to perform. If you want to keep a place in the starting 11, you have to perform week in, week out. You have to give 7, 8 out of 10 almost in every game, because you have someone else. And it doesn't matter who you are for Pep. And he have to bring someone who is 17 years old or 18 years old. It doesn't matter. If Pep believes that he's good enough to play and he can do what he expects, he does it. He doesn't have a clue on who you are. And the players can really see that. And that's why he's so good at this. It's not only about tactics and in the way they play out from the back and all this and playing, he always set up the team to attack. That's brilliant. We all really enjoy watching all the team from Pep Guardiola. But also we have to say in the way he always managed all the players and the team, and how he demands 100% from the players, and he creates the right mentality between all of them to compete, to go again. And that is what makes the difference for Manchester City at the moment.
He improves players, doesn't he? Yeah. And if he doesn't think he can improve you, he'll sell you. I mean,
and look at what Sterling's gone. Obviously, Cancelo went as well, Jesus, and it all seems to have made sense looking at what they've done this season. Obviously, Jesus has been good for Arsenal, but City haven't missed him.
No. Well, you're not going to miss him when you bring Erling Haaland in.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think he saw that Raheem Sterling was, still a good player, but was going to be surplus to requirements on a regular basis. To be fair, I think Sterling realised that as well. So they got good money for him, great money for him, if memory serves me right. And he's not playing exactly well at Chelsea, and they've got Foden, Silva, Mahrez, Grealish, young Cole Palmer can all come in and fill these positions and have done. So yeah, I mean, looking at the way they're playing in every competition this season, both domestically and in Europe, the only thing that I can see that will beat Man City is Manchester City. I don't see any other team in Europe.
No.
Champions League, I don't see any team now between now and the end of the season beating this side unless Man City make mistakes. Simple as that.
What will Arteta be most disappointed with his side as he's reflecting on this game tonight?
I think he'll be disappointed that there was such a wide gap between both sides. And it might...
Could he have done something?
Nothing, absolutely not.
Really,
we were talking...
We give him a pass for this.
Yes. Craig and I were talking during the game. We were like, at half-time, right, what do you do? What can you do?
Right.
So, what do you do and what can you do? And the answer to both questions was nothing. He was sat on the side talking to his assistant, and we're trying to figure out, what could they be talking about? Because can they change the way they play? Well, they can't change the way they play because the way they play has gotten them to where they are. And you can't just all of a sudden rip it up in the middle of a game against a team like City. So you can't do that. So do you make personal changes? Well, they didn't have any personnel changes to make. Yes, he brought Trossard on. Could he have brought Trossard on at half-time? Yeah, would it have made any difference? No. I mean, so you're looking down your bench and there's nothing you can do to make yourself any better. So... disappointed in that they're not as good as he probably thinks they are. But I think in a cold light of day, he'll go, right, I've got us to where we are. So now I need to go back and I need to sit down with the sporting director and everybody else, and we need to have a conversation about how we move this team on from where it is now. Because they have to go and do what City have done starting 8 or 9 years ago. And they have to sign 2 or 3 more players who absolutely get straight in that first 11. And then you have that competition for places that Pablo's talking about, where you've got real players sitting on the bench. Not no disrespect, not playing a holding for 5 and 6 games who's not good enough to make you Premier League champions. So that's what Arsenal have to do. So, yes, be disappointed, but don't... Just look at the big picture.
Do you agree, Frank? Arteta gets a pass for today?
Stevie, I'm sorry. Stevie, I'm sorry, but don't you think that nowadays teams don't have any plan B? I know the Liverpool that you play for, and those teams I used to watch, and I saw Marseille as well in the 90s. They were able to have a plan B. They were able to only defend and not concede any goal, and in another game give a big pressure on the other team and be able to play differently. I feel that, and it's not about only Arsenal. It's all about. I don't think City knows how to play differently. I don't think Bayern Munich knows how to play differently. It seems to be that nowadays, a team has a certain way to play and stick to it, are very good at it, but don't have any other possibility if they are in danger. Arsenal was the example today, but they're not the only one. And I think it's a question mark right now. Why they cannot be able to only defend and try to park the bus and not concede any goal because you play against Manchester City.
I think that is one of the things that when they went 1-0 up and it was clear that they were clipping the ball into Haaland and De Bruyne was getting the space and that their pressing game was, as Stevie said, kind of half-hearted, was, and it's hindsight, but just to say, listen, OK, this team are up for it today. They're carving us open. Here's what they're doing. And De Bruyne is getting space. Let's get Martinelli back in. Let's get Saka back in. Let's just drop a little bit deeper. Let's drop Xhaka and Partey in front of Holding and Gabriel. And just as Frank said, just not quite park the bus, but just sort of deny that space and allow Diaz and Akanji and John Stones and Kyle Walker possession. And if they break you down with a great pass, they break you down with a great pass. But Arsenal continued to do what they were doing from the first 5 or 10 minutes, and De Bruyne continued to do what he was doing for pretty much all of the game. So he's creating that much, when he's getting that much space, you somehow got to say to somebody, let's have 10 or 15 minutes here and make it difficult for them, and we might hit them on the counter.
So why didn't he do that?
Is that him?
He just kept plugging away.
Is that a point towards the inexperience of Arteta?
OK.
Because at the end of the day, this is your first job.
Right.
So does that say something about Arteta? That he doesn't... is he not doing that because football snobbery? Well, I don't do that. We can't do that. We can't park the bus. We didn't do that under Pep. I learned a lot of things under Pep. But then he must have learned a lot of things for Davy Moyes. Right. So why didn't he go to the Davy Moyes part of it and say, right, when things are not going well, we sort of get a little bit deeper and a little bit tighter? Is that to do with Arteta being stubborn and snobbish a little bit and not wanting to do that?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.